Welcome back to episode 11 of the Bold North Sports Podcast. Officially reached past the 10 episode mark. Did you know, I don't know the actual stat for it, but only I think it's 5% of podcasts keep going after the 8th or 9th episode or something like that.
Well, we got a lot more to go. So.
I know. I saw it the other day. I thought it was pretty cool, and I was like, we did that. Anyhow.
Well, we didn't, actually.
What do you mean?
Because this pushes us over the edge.
It does.
Right now.
Yeah.
When you see now, we were only at 10, so we were
true.
A part of the 5%.
Mm-hmm, but now we're not. But yeah, so Vikes go down to Charlotte today.
Yeah.
Win the what?
I don't know. I was just trying to do the math in my head where Charlotte is. Kind of down into the left.
Yeah. What?
Down into the left. If you're from Minneapolis, you're going down to the left.
Well, okay, if we were a map, yeah, this is Minneapolis up here. This is think about it. Okay, so hold on.
Oh, so, this is getting...
So Minnesota is a weird shape like that, okay? You got Minneapolis right here, Charlotte's down here.
Well, because if you're at Minneapolis and you're looking down, because you're going to be flying downwards, you have to go left.
That's true. Yeah. We'll just have to go. We almost went to this game.
Yeah,
almost.
Probably good we didn't.
Yeah.
You going to go to Cincy still?
Dude, I don't even know.
We can get cheap tickets.
I know. If the Bengals keep playing how they're playing, we might be able to. But I digress. Vikings walk into Charlotte today, get the win, 21-13. It may not have been the most prettiest way to win the game, but there were definitely some good flashes. Kirk may not have had his best game, but we still won. He threw a pick six, threw another pick. JJ had a big day. Yeah, I was more impressed with the defense today, even though it was a bad offense.
Yeah, I wasn't really that impressed with the defense. It just seemed like many times I found myself if you're going to pressure so much, how can you not hit them? The amount of times we pressure, it seems like we got 5 sacks in the second half. I don't know if we got the whole game, but it just seems like we don't have pressure. It's just the blitzing, but we don't have pressure. So it's confusing to... I mean, they played good, but like you said, it's a bad offense. Bryce Young is shorter than you are, and he's an NFL quarterback. It just shows, rookie quarterbacks don't solve everything. Half the Vikings fan base thinks it. We can get into this later, but just to open it with that, it's just half the NFL quarterbacks, you can't just walk in and walk on water. Bryce Young was really good at Alabama, but it just shows that the NFL is a different beast than college.
Yeah.
Even if you're playing on a worse team than college. Because college, he's throwing to 5 stars, where now he's throwing to Adam Thielen, 32-year-old or 33-year-old Adam Thielen, who's past his prime.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that they wanted to get him the ball today, and
he was fired up.
This game. Oh yeah,
he was fired. Which it's weird because but if you think about it, Thielen, you can't be mad at the Vikings because we're the only team to give you a chance in the NFL, and now you're 32 years old and they didn't want to pay you $18 million. You have to kind of understand, come on now, you can't ask for that much when you're the second best receiver on your team.
Yeah, I mean, and even at the end of the game, he was trying to get a intentional grounding call,
which wasn't. Kirk played it perfectly.
Yeah.
He got out of the pocket and just threw it away. And it wouldn't even matter because there was 0 seconds on the clock.
Right.
After it.
Intentional grounding in that circumstance, I think, is even just a 10-second runoff either way, so the game would have ended no matter what. But yeah, defense played, not bad today. Harrison Smith played amazing. 3 sacks. One of them was a forced fumble. We know that we have said that Harrison Smith...
You have.
Well, yeah, but you agreed.
I agreed, but I didn't say it. You said it, I didn't.
Well, he just looked like his old self today. It was wonderful to see.
That's the first time in 2 years that he's looked like himself. Because last year, Donatell just didn't use him right.
Yeah.
And I think Flores is starting to realize who to use and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And also another good game. Cam Bynum played good today again.
Bynum is always playing good. That's really cool to see. Yeah, I love his aggressiveness and his willingness to tackle.
His tackling is so good.
Mm-hmm.
He open field tackling, he's just so good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Where a year ago he'd run away from contact, but now I think Flores has an impact on him.
I bet.
And now his open field tackling is great. I think he's probably the best open field tackler on the team, other than Harrison.
Yeah.
But Harrison has done it for 12 plus years, so you kind of really can't compare the two.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe with Bynum, Harrison's just started to. You can see what Harrison rubbing off on him's done for him.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
that's probably part of it.
Well, having a mentor like that sure does help, I would say.
Hall of Fame safety.
Yeah. And he definitely played like it today. Again, I mean,
He won the game today.
Oh,
you
yeah,
can't
that
not
was
say he didn't win. Like the sacks at the end of the game, the strip sack. Because without that strip sack, I don't think he win that game.
yeah.
The way the offenses was, and if they even get a field goal there, what are you down there? You're down 17-7.
Yeah, 16-7, yep.
And then what is it? It's so. Was it the second quarter that it happened at? Yeah.
It happened in the third quarter, I believe, because halftime we went 13-7. So
Okay, yeah,
happened
I don't
in the
really
third
remember
quarter. But that
that
momentum swing was awesome. It's definitely what we needed. Wanham way to unhook the plow and absolutely take that thing back, and it was good. The offense, you could definitely tell they were trying to do a mix of get Jefferson the ball and also establish a run game. I think Madison played really well today. I think Cam Akers played really well today.
Kirk only threw the ball 19 times today.
As opposed to 40 sometimes.
And people were, I'd seen on Twitter after the game, people were mad, like, Addison didn't get involved and Hawkinson didn't get involved as much as he could have. But you only threw the ball 19 times, and he threw it to JJ, 10 of them, I think, or 10 targets for him. So that's, you have to do that. Like, there shouldn't be a question. And I think 2 of them were to Akers, and his ability is out of the backfield for catching and blocking is great. Now I know why you made the trade.
Yeah. Well, there's going to be those games where there's one guy that takes over, you know?
And it has to be 18.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be anybody else. I mean, me and you are, I'm sure many Viking fans are comfortable. You win or lose by what 18 does. And that's just the way it has to be, is because when you're the best receiver in football, your offense has to go through you. And that's been shown all year so far. Well, and Kirk, too. Which I hate to leave off on Kirk is I hate that QB wins are used as much as they are.
Yeah.
Because Kirk played his worst game this season all year. And it's not like he played terrible, but the one pick six was bad. But he was getting hit, like, always. But I think the 3 games that we lost, he played his ass off.
Yeah.
And the one game we win, he doesn't play good, which is now people have something to talk about on Twitter.
I think that Jefferson, he killed it today. Again, you know, and I'm not going to get mad about it because Madison and Akers played well today, but with a depleted secondary like the Panthers, you should have been able to throw all day on them, in which we kind of did.
Right.
So in a situation like that where you're going up against a secondary that doesn't have J.C. Horn, I think they should have
another one of their corners got hurt during the game.
Yeah. I mean, you should be able to throw the ball over. I know they have a solid front 7, but I don't know. I'm glad they're trying to establish run and build his confidence and all that. I get that, but
They're just going to throw to him all night.
yeah, they're going to throw to Travis Kelce all night. That's not the point. But Jefferson did have a nice day, a great day, and he's the best. Just think we're watching history right now.
I just think, so with you said the depleted secondary, the running the ball, you kind of have to, because when you get the ball as few times as the Vikings did today, you kind of really can't just throw the ball, because you have to run the ball and set up your defense, because it's the liability of this team is the defense, so I didn't really mind us trying to run the ball again. But today it didn't feel as forced as it did last week, which I like a lot more.
Yeah.
Because last week you could just see they were forcing the run. Where this week it kind of felt like it was more natural just to run the ball, set up the play action a little bit more. Now if we run the ball more, you can set up more play action, and that's where Kirk kills teams. That's his best attribute of the game, of his game. is when he can roll out to the right, like a long rollout, or wrong roll or left, and find Jefferson, Addison. That's where Kirk's game elevates to the next level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, I think KL's play calling got a little bit better today. I don't think that it was as superior as it can be.
It's like again, like the 4th and 2 from the goal line. Like or like when Kirk threw that pick 6, it's like you throw there because you can't run the ball. And that's just where the run game hurts the play calling. And like I said, I think last episode, like, winning solves a lot of problems. So all of this, like we're seeing now, the play calling's not as good, essentially, as last year, is we can't really know, because it could be the same way. It's just we were winning all these close games last year, compared to now we're not. So I think that's where it's kind of different then, and winning solves a lot of problems.
Technically, today was a one possession win.
1 and 3 this
1 and
year.
3. So.
Oh no, Philly wasn't. Was Philly one possession?
It was 34 to
28.
31. 34-28. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's still one possession. Yeah, and then obviously Tampa Bay as well, and the Chargers. So, yeah, clearly luck is not on our side this year.
It kind of had to have not been. The way we were winning games last year, like the Bills game and the Commanders game.
Yeah.
Did you see the actual graphic that we are dead last in walk this year? And Detroit and Green Bay are like top 10. So I don't want to hear anything about it. And I would just want to add this too. No, there's a lot of talk now that they won, that people are mad because they won, because they want to tank for Caleb Williams. You're not going to get him.
No.
I hate to say it. But like we were saying earlier, Bryce Young, look what he did. He was a rookie quarterback. And he's a little different because he's a midget.
Yeah.
But the rookie quarterback doesn't solve everything. And if Kirk, I'm going to say this right now, and you can disagree with me. If Kirk leaves next year, I wouldn't be surprised if JJ doesn't play next year. Because JJ will be on his franchise tag. So I was listening, where is it next year? Next year he's under contract, and then the following year he's on the franchise.
So this year's his 4th year, and then he's got his 5th year next year, which we picked up. And then if we sign him to a franchise tag, it'd be after that.
So the 5th year option I meant.
His 6th year would be the franchise tag.
So the 5th year option, he could just be like Josh Jacobs or Jonathan Taylor and just want to get paid and just rehab. I listened to this on Fan One today. They were just saying, like, if they screw up this Kirk thing and JJ doesn't want to catch a ball from a rookie next year or 2 years from now, he can just sit there next year on his 5th year option and just be like, well, I'm just going to come in here, rehab, and practice, but I'm not going to play games. And then I'll just hit the free agency market and go to a new team and have a huge deal.
Well, yeah, it'll be the first time in his career he gets to choose where he wants to go.
Well, no. College.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah, second time he gets to choose.
Yeah, but professionally, yes.
But he can't go with his boys in Cincy because they won't have the cap.
No, they won't.
It will be, the thing with Jefferson is if he leaves, it'll be to a team like Chicago that just has infinite cap space that can throw you the lucrative deal. So that's why
may or may not have Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison around.
There's a lot of football to play.
I know. I'm just saying. They hold 1 and 2 right now.
That doesn't even terrify me because
not really,
it's Chicago. They'll botch it. But I mean, Justin Fields played good today. Yay!
And then they lost.
20 was it 28 or 21 unanswered points in the second half
of
Denver?
It was crazy. They were absolutely dominating the Broncos, and then all of a sudden, just came back and Justin Fields threw the game-sealing interception and.
He just doesn't look good.
No, I don't know what it is. And they're trying to trade Chase Claypool, too, which I think is hilarious as well.
Gave up a first-round pick for him last year, essentially.
Technically. Yeah, but this is not a Bears podcast. Anywho, we hold the 3rd overall pick right now.
And a lot of football to play. I mean, the thing with it is the Vikings don't play any divisional games for a long time.
Yeah.
Like they play the Bears, but that should be a free win.
In 2
weeks. But the meaningful division games between the Packers and the Lions aren't till November, December, late October.
Yeah.
And you could you win out all your division games, you're gonna win the division.
Because that's the thing about our division is that it's one of the weakest ones in the NFL. So that's why I'm not too worried about being 1-3. It's great to win, but a lot of these early games is just kind of games where we just got to figure ourselves out. Once you get later in the season and things start, the window for the playoffs starts to get smaller and smaller. You got to figure out. I still think the Vikings have a little bit of an identity crisis. I know I said that last episode, but I still think that they do. They're still trying to figure out what works best for them and what doesn't. And I think that a good mix of the pass and run
I
is
really
definitely going to be
think
it.
right now, you say it's an identity crisis. I don't think it really is. You're a throwing football team. Mm-hmm. You need to run to set up the throw.
Right,
I think that's more of. I get what you're saying is you got to figure out the balance between the run and the pass, the marriage of them that KL uses all the time. Mm-hmm. But that just takes time.
Yeah, it definitely.
Because you got new bodies, you got new players.
Yeah.
I mean, you have two better receivers than he did last year. Mm-hmm. Thielen was hurt and he wasn't himself. Now you have a young Addison. And you got two good running backs. I think Akers is better than Madison. I'll say that right now. Small sample size, but if he can keep playing like he was today, picked up some blocks, caught the ball out of the backfield, ran the ball at 8 yards a clip. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's kind of hard not to keep giving him the ball.
Yeah. I think Thielen was definitely trying to prove to, Jordan Addison or somebody like that.
Yeah, but you think about it, the way Thielen's deal set up, it's pretty much a 1-year, $10 million deal. Because Carolina doesn't have to, it's a team option in the offseason, so he could be a free agent next year. And that could be the end of the road for him. Maybe. Depending on how these last 14, 15 games go.
Maybe we bring him back.
I mean, we might need a third receiver.
Because KJ is going to be gone.
But it comes back to the dollar amount.
Yeah, I mean, you can't throw everything at a 33-year-old wide receiver. By the way, Chris Carter was 33 on the 98 team. Just saying.
Yeah, but I think he was a little bit more
seasoned
better than Thielen is. Mm-hmm. Thielen still thinks he's the guy. I mean, he is the guy in Carolina, but that receiver room, I really don't know why they don't throw the ball to Terrence Marshall Jr.
Oh, yeah, Terrace,
He's better than Thielen is.
Terrace Marshall's not bad at all. Part of that LSU team.
Was he on the good team?
Yep. He was a freshman, I think, or something.
But he was probably their fourth option.
Yeah. Well, it went Chase, JJ, and then Terrace Marshall, and then someone like Derek Dillon and Thaddeus and
then Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the backfield.
Yeah.
That was such a good team.
Very good.
Did you see what Jamar said today after the Bengals?
He's always effing open.
That's a dumpster fire.
Mm-hmm.
T. Higgins is gone.
Joe Burrow. They
need to just put Joe Burrow on the shelf and not touch him.
Yeah. Dude's a little fragile. I'm
going to
say right now, Kirk Cousins is better than Joe Burrow.
I thought you were going to say more healthy.
No. Nope.
Well, yeah.
He's better than Joe
Burrow.
Right
now.
Yep.
I mean, in 2 years, 3 years. I could agree with that. I think Kirk's better than a lot of quarterbacks, and nobody gives him credit for it.
I think Kirk is top 5.
I just really do think that QB stats is the dumbest, or QB wins is the dumbest. Isn't that the guy that said the NBA? Noah Lyles?
I don't know.
That was off topic. But yeah, I think QB wins is just a terrible stat.
Look at that protection. Oh my gosh.
Because this is Kirk's worst game of the year, like we said in the open.
Yeah. But he still had a near 60-70% completion rate, and that's not bad at all.
No, it's not.
I mean, and he threw 2 picks, I get it, I mean, the first...
But if you think about it, the first one was completely his fault.
Yeah.
The second one was partially his fault, but he also got hit when he threw it. Mm-hmm. And that's just another thing, like I said I emphasized it so much last episode. Is Dalton Reisner just here to keep the fans happy and content? Because the fact that Ed Ingram still is not even getting they could have gave Reisner a drive, or he could have gave him a half, and just seen what he does. All you're doing now is just having him because his first game is probably gonna be a little rusty, and why not get that out of the way so he can be a factor for the Chiefs game? Because Chris Jones is going to destroy Ed Ingram all day.
Mm-hmm.
If Bradbury and Risner are in there, I feel a little bit better. But if it's Schlottman and Ingram, Kirk's going to get killed.
Yeah, I don't know why you're paying $4 million for a backup right guard.
And that's the other thing is, like, if we would go out right now and sign a Keem Hicks or a Ndamukong Suh or Linval Joseph, anybody that's out there, what makes it seem like they're going to play him right away?
Mm-hmm.
It seems like right now if we sign somebody, they're not going to play till week 10.
Yeah.
And we need him now.
You had Akers out there. Why couldn't you have Reisner out there?
And look what Akers did. Yeah. Akers proved in the 2 drives he played in that he was a factor.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk looked... The one play that I loved with Kirk looking at him was when he ran that little bubble, and he looked right at him, and then he threw it to him, and he ran hard.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Kirk got hit, you can tell Akers is bought in after 1 week. Because remember when Kirk got hit on the goal line? Akers went right in there and picked him up.
Yeah.
Where 90% of the running backs would just stand there and be like, "You good in the huddle?" Yeah. Cam Akers went in there and grabbed them.
There's a blitz today, a specific one. I can't remember how the play went, but he picked up the blitz very well.
He's a much better blocker than Madison, and this is after 1 week.
Yeah.
If it's going to have to eventually turn into a 1A, 1B scenario, which I'm completely fine with.
Yeah.
Because these guys, even you could probably extend him for cheap for next year because he's a free agent after this year. So that, like, them two being on cheaper deals will help set up everybody else for the cap money situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it just comes down to what does Reisner have to do to get in?
Well, the thing with it is, did you notice, I know you're a Twitter advocate like me, you're on there quite a bit.
Oh, after every drive, yeah.
But... like they said, somebody tweeted it, I think it was Friday afternoon or Saturday morning or maybe Thursday. They're like, the offensive line had a good week at practice, including Ed Ingram and Ezra Cleveland. Like, why does that matter? That's practice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could be a Hall of Famer in practice and just not have that translate on Sundays. Why should he start? What do you, like, if you're KO, what do you look at in Ed Ingram and you're like, wow, he does that good, or wow, he does that good?
Yeah.
It's literally like his whole game is just not there.
Mm-hmm.
We've already touched on that he's a 5th round rookie and we took him in the 2nd round. Like, it's just stuff like that. It's like, Risner's here, he wants to be here. What makes him, like, in the offseason, why would he want to re-sign?
Mm-hmm.
What if he comes on the scene next week and just tears it up and he's a top 5 guard in the NFL the rest of the year? And then he can go back to being like, well, yeah, I was there and they didn't start me right away. They just waited.
What if, I mean, there's not many people that can stop Chris Jones one-on-one.
No.
You never know until you try. And if he doesn't, then you got to find something
Ed
else.
Ingram is a doorman at Subway. And he's like, oh, yeah, you can just go right through.
Mm-hmm.
And then if Risner could block a little bit better, Kirk would have more time to do stuff. And Kirk went after every play. If I was Kirk, I'd have to, like, be standing right here, getting ready for the ball, and be like, I'm going to get hit on this play. Like, if he can get half of that out of his head, we're like, well, I may get hit this play, or maybe not. Mm-hmm. But every time, he's just got to be like, yeah, this interior line, I'm going to get hit. It's 90% of the time, it's the interior line.
Yeah.
And if I was a defensive end, I would go, if I was on Darisaw or O'Neal, who both played really good today, didn't hear about any of them, which is always a good sign when you're a tackle. But when you go, I wouldn't even go on the outside. I would just go right through. Is that the B gap, right?
Where?
Between the guard and the tackle?
Yes.
The B gap. I would go in the B gap all day. Just all the time. I would spin. I would do the Everson Griffin spin move right inside, right next to O'Neal or Cleveland. And I would get in there 85% of the time.
I'd go B gap or A gap and try and see what Schlottman and him can do.
Honestly, though.
There was a play today, I forgot, I don't know who it was. It was Jeremy Chinsack, actually, where...
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He just ran right through the hole that Ingram was probably supposed to cover because it was wide open.
Ingram went to go supposedly take on a double team with O'Neal, and he just went zoop right through.
O'Neal doesn't need help on a double team.
No.
O'Neal's got it. Darrisaw's
What does
got
O'Neal
it.
ever need? Whoa. Did I get it?
I don't know.
Huh.
Keep going.
Yeah, O'Neal doesn't need help with a double team.
It's just like him and Darisaw. It's like, why? What makes you seem like a double team was a pass play, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What makes it seem like you should, if you're gonna double anybody, help the center double?
Right.
Because the center has to snap the ball, then get up. And 9 times out of 10, the edge or the interior defensive lineman is gonna already have a head start on you.
It's easier to have your quarterback step up in the pocket if somebody beats the tackle on the outside than have them trying to run
Kirk
away
has
from
better pocket awareness than he did when he first got here.
he's not going to be somebody who runs away from anybody coming up the middle.
No,
you know.
You got it. Kirk's a pocket passer, and you have to build the offensive line like that. And the interior offensive line does not help your pocket passing at all.
Mm-hmm.
You got the right tackles, you just don't have the right interior.
I think Ezra's played
good this year. It's just
good.
The way that Ingram has played has been so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's 90% of the reason.
Yeah.
And Schultman, too. I mean, even though Schultman and Bradbury are interchangeable, but maybe this week, because Bradbury might be back, bring back Bradbury and then bring Risner in and have a completely interior offensive line
just
to change
see
it up.
what happens.
You have to change it up.
Yeah.
Because you can't, like the Eagles, even the Eagles game, you couldn't. That was terrible. Their defensive line killed their interior offensive line, and Kirk still balled out.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
I think that they just try it. I mean, I for sure thought after that happened that they were finally going to be like, all right, Reisner, you're in there, you know?
I just, if Reisner's there sitting on the sidelines, he's got to be like, well, why did I do this? Nancy.
So, I mean, like, with Reisner off of the, you know, not coming off the bench anytime soon, I mean, what do you do with him?
I don't know. He's kind of just like a bench mop guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's depth right now.
I mean, was this just a fan-pleasing...
It is. That's what it... Because it can't be worse than Ed Ingram. It honestly can't.
No, and
you
I don't
can't
know.
tell me right now that he's worse than Ed Ingram is. He can't. You physically can't.
Yeah.
I think if you could get like a below-average guard, it might be... Well, I mean, Ed Ingram is a below-average guard.
Yeah. I mean...
So, I really don't know.
Yeah. Ed Ingram, like, he's had his chance to prove it. I know he was a rookie last year. You can't expect much from him.
But now, like, this is where you're supposed to make a jump to do something.
Mm-hmm.
And you haven't been able to do that, so...
Yeah.
I think it's time to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. And how much worse could Dalton Reisner actually be? I mean,
Yeah.
he can't be any worse.
No, he can't be.
I mean, the dude's 27.
He's 28.
28, entering his, you know, what should be his prime, and you just got to give the guy a chance.
The one fear with me is, so if he's entering his prime, then why did Denver let him go?
Yeah, I know.
It's not like they have there's no way they have a better option in Denver. Because Denver's a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
Chicago's a dumpster fire. See, that's the thing with the Vikings is, the Vikings are 1-3 now. They were 0-3 going into the week, but they're the best 1-3 team by miles. The other 1-3, 0-4 teams are dumpster fires, like complete just dumpster fires. And it's like, how are we this bad? It's not even bad. It's just the turnovers. We've seen it again today. Not so much the fumbles, but 2 interceptions, and one of them was terrible.
Yeah.
But it's like, you look at it on paper. I don't really know. But, like, the other teams that are in similar situations than us are dog crap. Like, they're dumpster fires. I don't know what you do.
Yeah, they're not as good as we are. I mean, you look at a team like the Bengals, who's also 1-3, and I feel...
That surprises me. Not going to sit here and be like, they're 1-3. Like, that deeply surprises me.
I don't know. Like, I think that, like, if we played the Bengals right now, I think their front seven would absolutely destroy us.
Anybody's would.
Yeah.
I mean, Carolina's, they have above average, and they got to Kirk. Everybody does. So that's where Dalton Reisner has to be in there. But if you go back to the Bengals being 1-3, when you initially did, like, when we sat down and did our, like, and it was on the schedule, you write down the Bengals as a loss 9 times out of 10. And now it's not looking like that, because we're looking like we're going to play them. We don't even know if Joe Burrow's going to play it.
Yeah.
We might see old friend Jake Browning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's stuff like that's why like the NFL is like the greatest sport ever because you don't know until you play them.
Uh-huh.
Like the Chiefs next week, everybody's probably marking it down. We're gonna be 8-point dogs, probably, maybe even worse. But they're marking it down as a loss. But it's football. You just gotta go out there and play them.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why like it just every time I see other teams' records, it's like the Bengals are probably like us. I would say us and the Bengals are the better 1-3 teams, but
underachieving teams.
Other than that, like everybody else just seems bad.
Uh-huh.
Like the Bears, they're bad. They've been bad forever.
Yeah. The Bears, the Texans.
Well, the Texans, they got a stud in C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, they do.
A stud in C.J. Stroud.
The Broncos, the Raiders. I mean, they're not good.
No.
Despite the talent that they have. The Panthers, like, there are teams out there that I feel that, we should definitely not be in the same room as them.
And that's where I really don't get the tanking situation there either.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll ask you this now, because I don't really think we touched on it in the last episode. What do you think we should do next year at quarterback?
You gotta sign Kirk to an extension for cheap, because he has to realize the situation around him. He's got to realize that if he wants to keep the core guys around him, that makes the offense successful, whether that is Jefferson and Darrisaw, who are lined up to get contract extensions, because I don't think KJ is going to. Kirk's got to realize that, well, if I want these guys to stick around, I have to take some sort of a Tom Brady deal and only take about $20 million. You offer him a 3-year, $20 million or $60 million contract that pays him $20 million a year. I think that's perfect.
And that's a steal.
Yeah.
On the Vikings side, that's a steal.
Because you're going to make JJ happy and you're going to make JJ want to stay for at least another 3 years.
That's the biggest thing with me is I think if Kirk leaves, you lose 19 or 18. I'm sorry. But and that's the other thing, if you lose Jefferson, the regime, Kwesi and KO, the draft classes go like the missing on Lewis Seen doesn't matter. They'll be known as the regime that lost Jefferson.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I agree with you. And then you pick a quarterback, maybe even in the first round.
You can still pick a quarterback in the first round, but you have to be ready to establish the offensive line, just like what we talked about.
Dream scenario in my mind was if we could get J.J. McCartney and have him sit behind Kirk for 2-3 years.
Yeah, that's
and have
perfect.
him develop. That would be... Because then you'd be releasing the wings to him, and even Kirk would maybe at that point in his career be like, I'll stay here and be a backup.
Mm-hmm.
I have chemistry with the young quarterback, and then in 3 years, Jefferson's going to be in his prime.
Yes.
And that's something where a rookie quarterback getting that, and then JJ has trust in him with practicing and stuff, and Hawkinson will still be in his prime. Addison will be, hopefully, a stud too.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully the interior offensive line is fixed by then. But you'll still have the 2 tackles.
Mm-hmm.
And the offense is a young team.
Yeah, and Hawk is still 25 years old. You still got Hawk and he hasn't even entered his so-called prime yet.
No,
either.
So that's where I think Kirk should be your bridge quarterback to bridge it to J.J. McCartney, maybe Michael Penix. But I think the Drake May and Caleb Williams talk is over because we were talking about earlier, like the bad teams that are in similar shoes than us are bad. We're not bad. We're just beating ourselves.
Yeah, no, we're not bad.
I really don't think we're bad. I mean, you can't come on here and say we're a bad team, even though we're 1-3. We have 11 turnovers through 3 games, 4 games. If you cut that to 7 or 6 turnovers, it's a completely different story. And I mean, not saying we're going to be 4-0 and blowing teams out of the water.
But 3-1's pretty reasonable.
3-1.
Philly might be the only loss, Mm-hmm. Despite
even I would say you could. The Bucs game, I think you lose either way. Turnovers at all. You didn't show up.
Okay.
But the Philly game, you showed up.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that Jefferson fumble is like the biggest star in that whole game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's going for the end zone and you lose the ball, and Jefferson doesn't make errors.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will add on Jefferson is the last couple weeks, Jefferson hasn't been like untouchable, like he doesn't get hurt. He's dropped out in both games,
Yeah.
and every single time you are like, "Oh
It's
no,
like getting the wind
it's
knocked
over.
out of you.
It's literally over. Like if he gets hurt, knock on wood, but it's over. I mean, Addison and KJ, they're good options, but they're not what 18 brings.
No, they will never. Well, I'm not saying they'll never be that.
Addison, but KJ will never be on the level of.
No. So, I mean, you got so many young players to really set up your future quarterback with. Kirk's a fantastic mentor. I have no doubt in my mind that he knows that he's getting late into his 30s, and he knows, yes, there's going to be a change that's going to come up if you take that rookie quarterback.
The one thing with the rookie quarterback is if you would do our realistic plan, you'd have to shy away from Bo Nix because he'd be 27, 28.
Yeah.
And then he only has, legitly, because the first year of a rookie quarterback, you can't really say much because he's still learning. But if you got a guy like J.J. McCartney who sits behind Kirk, and he'd be hitting the wing at 25, 24, that's completely different. But if you're 28, 29, it changes everything.
Well, yeah, you guys stay away from Penix and
Is Penix old too?
Penix is 25, I think, or 24, one of the two. So,
but I think that would be the best scenario because if Kirk walks out the door, 18, you might as well just tell him that too, like he's gone. Because he said that he wants to play with them. He likes Kirk, and I mean, why? What is the holdup? Is where I'm coming to is like, how can you not be like, yeah, this guy's just too good to let him walk out of our building. He's never been a diva. He wants to be here. It looks like he likes it here. And you never really get that. A superstar. This is a superstar. Like, he's going to be on Madden cover in a couple years, I'd assume.
Probably.
Like, just stuff like that. You don't really, other than AP, you don't really see this in Minnesota. Randy Moss, but other than that, you don't have these guys. They don't come along every day.
Yeah. So, and then you look at the defense too. I mean, you're still going to have Byron Murphy. You got a Caleb Evans, Ivan Pace.
Pace and Asamoah will be the best linebacking core in the NFL in 2 years.
We're really banking on Asamoah to do some. You got Bynum, who's going to lead the safeties in when Harry.
Yeah, I don't really know what you do at safety now.
Yeah.
Because if this is Harrison's last run, which it very well could be, especially if you figure your stuff out and you make a deep playoff run, I'd kind of find it hard to see Harry come back. And I mean, right now I don't trust Lewis Seaton. All due respect to Metellus. Yeah, I mean, he has to start. It would just be Metellus' role. Who would fill that role? Yeah. You'd probably have to pick a guy. Hopefully, Quasey can hit on that pick.
Right. I mean, yeah, and you got Jay Ward, too, and you still got to wait for that to, come up and just see.
You just need to build the trenches.
You do. I mean, you really need to hit hard and pick guys who you know that are going to make an impact. Maybe not right away, but definitely have the ability to do it down the road.
We just need like a Jalen Carter or a Chris Jones in the middle. I feel like the biggest thing the defense is missing right now is. I mean, I touched on it last episode heavily, but I mean, I think you sit here every single week and it's the same problems every single week.
Yeah, you got to build the trenches. If you're going to keep Kirk, you have to protect Kirk. It's as simple as that.
If you can protect Kirk, we should be in the Super Bowl conversation next year. Because as long as you have 18, you're never out of it. No. That's why I don't get people mad that you lost, because nobody can restrain Jefferson. Now, especially with Addison here as a valid solid number 2 option, you can't really sit here and be like, yeah, the Vikings are out of it. They should just lose out. It's not going to happen.
No, that is not going to happen, especially with the amount of talent that we have.
And every day that passes, the Kirk trade things are just going to sleep. Because Kirk's not the type of person to... I mean, he is, but he isn't. He can't really... I don't think he would do well with learning an offense on the fly. Especially, coming from this offense, which is very, heavy and a deep offense. If he'd go to, Atlanta or anywhere, it'd be hard for him just to catch it right on the fly.
I'm sure he wouldn't want to go through that again. There were 5 straight years of him having to learn new offenses. I'm sure he would not want to do that again.
If KO is here, I don't think Kirk would want to leave. No. Kirk said it multiple times that he wants to be here and he wants to retire here. So why not? I don't get... Him and Jefferson. It's just both of them. It's like, why aren't you trying to just go in and do it?
Mm-hmm.
You see they both have been producing, so I don't know really what the holdup is.
I've also been wondering, like, why doesn't Jefferson get, like, 15, like, 20 targets a game?
You don't have them. You have to run the ball to a certain extent.
But good things happen when you get him the ball. Real good things happen.
I know, but if you get that, like, pass heavy, I mean, they already are pass heavy, but then you're going to lose other guys on the team. Like, you might lose an Addison, because Addison didn't do anything today, which isn't, Addison's so young. Like, you think about it, so Addison's in his 4th game now. Jefferson didn't play the first 3 games his rookie year.
He still ended up with 1,000 yards.
So, I mean, there's never, I mean, as long as Kirk can keep trusting him, that's the biggest thing with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing, is, like, Addison doesn't have any room to talk about anything that he deserves right now. You know, if he's open, Kirk will find him. But JJ is your first option. And he'll always be your first option as long as he's still in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Whether he is 40 years old still playing or 24 right now.
He should be a lifer, which I don't know. It's hard to be a lifer now. I mean, we've seen that with, like, Thielen. I think 90% of the people thought Thielen lifer. He's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And now we only have Hitman that's going to probably be a lifer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I get it. I mean, there's a lot of guys who like to, you know, they want to win a ring. I get it, you know.
But there should be no reason that Jefferson doesn't win a ring here.
Yeah.
Get him a young quarterback to succeed Kirk in 2 years and just have them ball
Whether
together.
that be J.J. McCarthy or...
I love J.J. JJ to JJ would be nasty.
Shadur isn't a bad idea.
But he's not going to come out till the following year.
I know. I don't know why Dion isn't letting that happen.
Who knows? There's a long season before the draft.
Drake May and Caleb Williams are going to be the guys. We're not going to get them. Okay, we're not going to. The Bears will take Caleb Williams and mess it up. Oh,
him or Denver. If Butthole Eyes in Denver get it.
yeah.
Butthole Eyes. I'm referring to Sean Payton.
Sean Payton. Yeah.
Meat sauce. Paul Lambert says that all the time. He calls him Butthole Eyes, which I love. I hate Sean Payton.
Yeah. Well, all of us do.
And the Philadelphia Eagles franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we can say these things every single week because they're always going to be true, and it's always going to happen and be a problem that may not have seemed like it so much today, but the little things.
Winning covers a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you lose this game, there's a lot more to dissect than what we already can.
Mm-hmm.
Because I keep bagging on it. It's winning solves a lot of problems. Like, who knows? We could have ran into all these problems last year, but we just won a bunch of one-score games, so it was hard to really dissect it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, all the luck and all the wins that happened last year really.
We still got time. I'm not bagging, like, the season's not over by any means.
It's not.
I mean, as much as I know there's a bunch of Viking fans on Facebook that hate that Kirk and the Vikings have success. I mean, this team's too good to get one of the guys. I mean, if somebody would get hurt, then it's like if Kirk would get hurt or somebody would get hurt, it's a completely different story. But if everybody stays healthy, I don't think that they're going to be bad enough to get Caleb Williams or Drake May.
No, the Vikings will never be bad enough to get a top 5 or top 10 pick. They're always going to be in the middle.
They were a couple years, or 12 years ago. They took Matt Khalil. Now, how well that worked out.
Tough. Yeah.
But I don't really know. We got anything else?
I don't think so. I think overall today, we didn't play bad at all. I mean, there were a few stances where, yes, things just have to be improved, and it's just going to be stuff that we say every day. It's going to be Ed Ingram, and it's going to be the defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, that's really it. And you could add the corners to that because the corners have never really been. Actually, the one thing I noticed today, Byron Murphy does not like contact at all. Yeah. He does not like to go down and tackle.
Caleb Evans likes to.
Mm-hmm. But I don't like the Byron Murphy. He's an okay corner, but like he does not like. Oh. He does not like contact at all. There was a couple plays where he would watch two other guys hit him. Like, you're getting paid to do that. Like, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
So
I thought he was an aggressive kind of player, but I
maybe
guess,
he's got to get his feet wet. He's only had 4 games in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, Caleb Evans, he had a nice tackle today that I saw, a nice open field tackle.
he also had a bad penalty, which could have gone either way.
Yeah.
But that hurt.
Yep. But I think he can turn into something real special. I think that defense is just there's roots that need to get watered.
I mean, if you can lock up Byron Murphy next offseason or the following offseason, then you have Caleb Evans. You got to pick another corner. I guess, what did we pick this year? We were 22.
23.
God, I wish that Christian Gonzalez would have fell to us.
I know, that would have been
I think that
great.
you had to have picked him right over Addison.
Yeah.
Just because you had a kind of a weird secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been mad with that.
No. Really anybody. Interior offensive line would have been awesome too.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's all we got.
I will add one more thing.
Oh.
We'll get a Twins video out next week after the divisional round, or not the divisional round. Hopefully they're in the divisional round. But after the wild card series, we'll get a Twins video out.
Mm-hmm.
They play Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. They play Toronto. Hopefully they can find a way to the second round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we're on to Kansas City. It's a game that we for sure can win.
You can win any game in the NFL.
Anybody can beat anybody. Can't be intimidated by Patty Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Taylor Swift. So
Swifty will be in Minneapolis, though. I'll guarantee it.
Not her first time in Minneapolis, that's for sure. Ev, where can you find our audio podcast?
You can find our audio podcast at Apple Music or Spotify.
And our
social media on all of them. Bold North Sports. TikTok's weird. I didn't make it again. Who knows who did? But that's Bold North Sports .podcast.
It's not .podcast.
Or it's podcast. I don't have TikTok, okay? You guys just bag on me. You guys are both looking at me laughing.
Well,
then you tell them. Don't have me do it. Don't ring me in here. What's our TikTok, Cam?
It's just Bold North Sports Podcast.
Okay, sorry. One dot really changes the aspect of everything.
I've been letting it slide for the last, I think, 4 episodes.
Okay.
But now, I figured I'd say something. I don't know. But,
of course you did.
So.
Patrick Mahomes is throwing 2 interceptions.
Wow. But anywho, that'll be all for today.
Skull till I die.
Ride or die school. Yeah. On to Kansas City. Chasing 2-3, and then 3-3 and 4-3, and so on. 14-3 season coming our way. Hopefully.
As always, it's him with a dice roll.